Boom. What's up, friends? We are live. We are live right now. 10:47. If you're watching this like later on, at a later point, I want to skip like the first 15 minutes because it's 10:45 to 11. I'm just gonna let people get on, kind of get everything tested, everything settled. So what's up, friends? We got one. Aaron is on. What's up, dude? Sitting here drinking my coffee. Just hanging out. Welcome. Boom. Hey, my friends. Welcome to Roywood Church. So this first part, I'm basically gone live early to test the strength of the stream, make sure everything's good. I'm watching on my computer down here, so if you see me looking at my computer down low, it's because I'm checking out the Yo. This is why I went live early. I'm trying to make sure everything is seamless on this process before we actually get into the lesson. So, sorry for that. That's why I'm doing it though. Boom. Should be back. Signal strength is good on our stream, so I'm not sure why we would drop it. That would stink. If something happens to this stream and it becomes unusable, then we will go to, I'll basically put another link here in the chat and we'll figure something out. Dude, Nova Scotia, Canada. Bro, that's awesome. Yeah, if you guys are tuning in, you know, comment in the live chat, say what's up. I'd love to know where you're watching from, what you got going on, what's going on in your world. Again, I know right now the whole purpose of me going live early is to kind of make sure I've got time to get everything settled in, make sure the stream quality is okay. What about the audio? Is audio okay on the kit? It's not going to sound like absolutely incredible like everything else, but should be not too bad. Charlotte, North Carolina, Georgia, USA. Welcome. Welcome. Pumped you guys are here. So, I'm going to let you guys in on, not a secret, kind of a preview. So, what I want to do with these lessons is do them maybe like once a month, and with the goal being to get 100 people on the lesson. And if I can get 100 people on the lesson, I'm going to start giving away my symbols. So the idea is we get 100 people on the lesson. One person at the end of the lesson walks away with this 17-inch Brilliant Crash. That's awesome. So basically once a month for 10 bucks, you get a lesson, and then you get a chance to win a cymbal or a snare or hi-hats or something. So that's the idea, is I want to get to about 100 people on a lesson and then give stuff away. So what do you think about that? Would you like to win a cymbal? Is that even something that you would dig or thought would be cool, or what are your thoughts on that? We got 7. Again, I'm just going to keep saying this over and over until we get to 11, but the whole purpose of going live a little early is to kind of test the signal strength, make sure everything's okay, make sure you guys are getting what you need, the audio's okay, the video's okay. Also, another thing I'm working on getting set up is I really want to use a multi-camera system for live lessons versus this one camera shot on YouTube, but it's not cheap, it's not free. So I wanted to do a lesson first just to see if anybody would even want to do this, right? I mean, see if anybody would even like to enjoy doing this. So Paducah, no way. Paducah, Kentucky. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Dude, that's awesome. People from all over. So, all right, let me just go ahead and I know it's 5 till, so I don't want to you know, cheapen it for anyone that jumps on at 11, because that's when the lesson starts. But what I'm gonna do today, just FYI, is I'm going to walk through. Since it's kind of impossible to know exactly everyone's skill level where you guys are in your playing, I'm gonna very quickly run through some of the foundational aspects and then spend a little more time on some of the application. So if you, you know, if your skill level is lower than where I'm stopping at, like if you're like, whoa, that's way above my head, at the end, let me know, and I'll kind of walk back through some stuff. Okay, so I know I said this is a 1-hour thing, but you know, I'm not. If we have questions and stuff, I want to spend a little time on that. The other thing is, feel free to comment. Feel free to say anything you want in the comments. But just know, if everyone is commenting a bunch of stuff, then I'm not going to be able to keep up, right? I'm not going to be able to follow what's happening. So I'm not saying don't comment, but I'm just saying, like, if everyone's just, you know, we got 50 people or whatever, and everyone's just commenting a bunch of random stuff, it's gonna be hard to keep up. So just food for thought. But I'm gonna kind of talk about how I build fills, and I'm gonna show you a couple fills, and then I'm gonna show you how to not only play one fill, but how to use that fill as a system. So in my mind, it's better if I try to teach you a language. Like if drumming was a language, I don't want to just teach you a sentence, right, and say, oh, I can say this sentence, and I can say this sentence over and over and over and over. That doesn't really help you, right? It's better if you can learn the words and learn the structure and learn the language, so you can express yourself in the language versus just saying one thing. So I think that's the problem sometimes, just learning a fill, is you just try to like copy and paste that fill into, you know, a situation where if you kind of understand how you got there, then you can adapt the fill, you can change it, you can make it fit into your setting. So that's kind of like the thought process behind what I'm doing. So we got 4 more minutes until I'm officially going to kick off the lesson. But if you have any questions you want to ask, you know, now's a great time if you want to put them in there for me to think about at the end, or I can get to them during the lesson. But if you got any questions, you got anything you want to type, I don't want to scare you off from typing. I'm just saying, if everyone's typing like tons of random stuff, I can't necessarily keep up. But if you got a question, if you got a comment, please let me know. I would love that. The whole point of this being a live lesson is to give you the chance to interact. So feel free to do that. Give me a question, drop me something you want me to talk about, and we will officially get rolling in 3 minutes. Whoa, London. Georgia, welcome, 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 welcome. Also, if you want to get a pen and paper, pencil and paper, or just write stuff on your phone, I'm going to be giving you some things to write down. Nothing crazy, but we're just going to be writing a couple things, couple of notations for you to think about. I'm also probably going to be typing them here in the chat, so you'll have them there. But, boom. What is up, people? Countdown to our official lesson start time. I'm drinking this coffee. I've said this in several videos, but my 4-month-old daughter is not sleeping. She likes to be awake at night sometimes now, so hence the coffee all day. Okay, it's 11 o'clock. Let's get going. We're going to talk about fills. We're going to talk about how I build fills. We're going to talk about the system behind them. So, a couple of groundwork items. If you are ready, if you are here, let's lock in, let's get rolling, let's get this thing moving. The first thing, the foundation for fills and understanding them is the ability to count. What kind of kit do you use? This is a DW Collector's kit. I like Mapex Saturn. It's my favorite kit. If you look at some of my videos, Mapex Saturn. So the ability to count, right? So the basis of what we're talking about is quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. All right. So quarter notes. Again, this should be pretty simple. Quarter notes, right? My backbeat groove, right? This is the most simple groove ever. Okay. I've got eighth notes on the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I got quarter notes on the kick and snare. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So it makes up a groove. Cool? Everybody cool with that? Then 16th notes, right? So we have different subdivisions. Quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 16. 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Everybody cool with that? That makes sense. So we have those 16th notes. So one mainstay of my playing is linear drumming, okay? So linear drumming in a very simple sense just means that I'm not playing any two surfaces at once, right? So everything is spaced out and articulated in that way. So I'm trying to think if I can get some feedback from you guys. Raise your hand or put in like a hand raise emoji or maybe a thumbs up or yes, I don't know, say yes. If you are familiar with the terms 3/1, 2/2, if I say those things, is that something that rings a bell in your mind? Have you ever heard those terms before? If not, that's okay. If so, just maybe going to put you a little bit down the road in what I'm talking about. A really big proponent of linear drumming and kind of this construct of speaking is Mike Johnston. He's another great guy. Look him up on YouTube if you're not already. I'm sure you guys are hip to Mike Johnston. He's got tons of great stuff. But he's on YouTube and he's doing tons of lesson stuff. So 3/1, 2/2 are this concept usually applied in 16th notes as to the beginning point of it. So what it means simply is a number over a number is basically hands over feet, right? So if I said 3/1, that would be right, left, right, kick. So 3 hands over 1 foot. And again, the assumption is that that is expressed as singles, right? Just right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. So if I played a 3/1, it would be right, expressed evenly, linearly as a 16th note. So if I were to say I'm going to play one measure of a 3/1, it would sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Okay, that's a 3/1. 1E and a 2E and. So again, 3/1, 3 hands over 1 foot. Okay, so that's the system. That's a very simple system, but it's super useful. So I've got 3/1, 1E and a 2E and. I've got 2/2, right? So it'd be. Right, and then the list goes on. I can do 1/1, 3/2. Okay, 5/1. Okay, so In short, basically what I do is if I'm playing a 16-note linear fill, I'm just going to mix and match those numbers to make them fill my measure. So stuff like this. That's all linear stuff. 3/1, 2/2, 1/1. And I'm adding in some like both hands together, right? So I'm not perfectly playing that represented as linear because I'm playing 2 notes together. But all of that stuff is linear drumming. All that stuff is using this kind of idea of like 3/1. So what I want to do, if I want to be able to build a fill, a linear fill kind of fluidly, what I need to be able to do is to express myself using different ideas. So using like a 3/1, using a 2/2. Right, so for instance, if I want to start learning those, I'm going to take them one at a time and I'm going to play them over and over until I'm comfortable expressing them, you know, on the drum set. So, you know, drums, in my opinion, is kind of like you have the mind, you have the muscles, you have the connection between those two, right? I can say something, you can say, yeah, that makes sense, I get it. But then if you sit down and try to play it, it's like, I can't play it. Why? Because you got to take time to build that mind to muscle connection. So speed is a huge factor when you're trying to learn. What I say is slow stuff down. Make stuff like super slow to begin because you got to build that connection. You can always speed things up. A big mistake I see a lot of people make is they try to learn something playing it at a high tempo. It's too fast. Slow it down. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to get myself comfortable. Say I've never played linear, you know, drumming, never played linear fills. I'm going to get myself comfortable with a 3/1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a 3/1 starting on 1. Right, so I'm going to play 3/1, so 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and then I'm going to finish the measure out with singles on 4 E and crash. Does that make sense? So I'm playing a 3/1, which is 4 notes, 16th notes for a whole measure as a fill. So here we go. I'm going to play that on the snare. So I'm going to play one measure of normal groove, and then I'll play one measure of my linear fill. Here we go. Okay, that makes sense? So again, it's pretty simple. Now what I want to do, so say I've done that, I'm comfortable with 3/1. I can play 3/1, you know, that fill all day. So now what I can do is I'm going to mix and match things. Like say if I want to play 3/1 and then I want to add in a 2/2. So I'm going to play 3/1, 3/1, 2/2, and then finish it off with singles. Okay, so that would look like this. Make sense? Again, feel free to stop me and comment something if, you know, what I'm saying makes no sense whatsoever. That's why we have an hour. That's the whole point of it being live, is this is the opportunity for you to be like, that, I don't get that at all. Stop, say that again, and I'll go back through it. So, but again, the idea is I want to be comfortable, one, playing each one of these subdivisions, right? So I want to be able to play fluidly 3/1, boom, gats, booms, gats, da 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 boom. Okay, 3/1, 2/2, booms, gats, booms, gats, boom. Right, so all those things. So fills it's all a numbers game being played in your mind, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to land on the 1, right? You're trying to come back to the 1 with kick and crash. Okay, so you're trying to always find the 1. Boom, I got to come back to the 1. So in my mind, I'm playing this numbers game. If I play a 2/2, then I can play another 2/2, then I can play another 2/2, and that's going to put me right on the 1. Oh, but if I play a 3/2, that's 5 notes. Now I'm on an odd time. I've got to add an extra note to get back to the 1, right? So that's what's happening kind of live. You know, in my mind is this whole thing of you feel the rhythm, you kind of know where you're at, and you got to find the 1. But if you're like, man, I'm not comfortable with that yet, let's rewind that, and you literally can play the numbers game. So, for instance, if I've been playing 3/1, 3/1, 3/1, and then singles. Well, those are even, right? Those are groups of 4, and that fits perfectly in our whole 16th note pattern. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. That fits perfectly. What if I play an odd group? Okay, what if I play a 3 over 2? Now I've got 1E and a 2, or I've got 1E and a 2, and then that puts me on E to E on that 16th note. So that's weird. So now if I play a 3 over 2, that's 5 notes. So I've got to make that note up somewhere. Okay? So again, if I'm playing, 3 over 1, that's going to land me right on my quarter notes. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. But if I play a 3 over 2, I've got to make that up somewhere. So for instance, I've got to play a 3 over 2, 5 notes, and then I may have to play like a 2 over 1, which is 3 notes. So that's 8. So that puts me back on my downbeat. So I know it's just like, oh, what does that have to do with drumming? But the point is, I've got to make sure that I'm always coming back around to the 1. So I've got to build this phrase to land on the 1. Okay? So, for instance, if I'm going to play a 3 over 2 and a 2 over 1, it's going to sound like this. Right? So it's kind of this off time feel. 3, 4. Right, so I played 3 over 2, then 2 over 1, and then I finish it off with 2 over 2s because I was back on my downbeat. So, I know that may be really complicated, but basically, what I can do, if you're trying to figure out linear drumming, you're trying to build some linear fills, what you can do is you can sit down and write them out, because if you're starting on the 1, ending on the 1, you've got 16 notes, right? So basically, you've got 16 notes to fill. So if I was writing this in the chat, I could say, if I'm going to do a 3 over 1, I would write it like this: right, left, right, kick, right, left, right, kick, right, left, right, kick, and then finish off with right, left, right, left. Okay? So that would be 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and then we would end on the 1. So that's 16 notes. So I know that's going to fill my measure. Now, if I want to play an odd group like I just did, like the 3 over 2, 2 over 1, I would do this: right, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1E and a, 2E and a, and then I've got 3E and a, 4E and a. Okay? So that gets me to the same place. It gets me back to 1, but I've played a group of 5. I've played this odd grouping. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? We got 15 people on. Is that making sense? Or is this even applicable to you? Is this way under your playing level? Is this right where you're at? Do you like this? Do you hate this? If this is all good, we get it, boom, I'll move on. We'll talk about something else. If everyone's really feeling this, hey, talk about that more, we'll stay right here and I can talk more about linear drumming. And talk a little bit more about how I build groupings. Or if you're totally cool with 3 over 2, 2 over 1, all that stuff, we'll move on. Okay, so cool. So everyone seems to be pretty cool with this. So that's one thing. So there's 3 aspects to a fill, 3 aspects to a drum fill, in a very simple. Yeah, I got you, Derek, about dynamics. So 3 aspects to a drum fill in the very basic sense. 1, timing. When do I start the fill? You might want to write this down. This kind of helps frame some things up. Timing. When do I start the fill? When do I end the fill? Right? That tells me everything. That tells me how many notes I'm going to play. That tells me where it starts, how many things I've got, how much time I've got, all that. So timing is the first piece of structure that goes in place. When am I going to start? When am I going to end? So timing. The second thing is pattern. Okay, what am I playing? Right? Am I playing all singles? Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Am I playing a pattern like 3 over 1? Okay. Because if I take those 2 things, all of a sudden I've got so many options, right? So say if I wanted to play, a 3 over 1 fill, starting on 1, ending on 1. So I figure my timing is I'm just going to do, 1 measure straight up, right? So that's really easy. Boom. That's great. What if my timing is I'm going to start on the end of 1, right? All of a sudden now everything is shifted over an 8th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 1. Right? All of a sudden, the phrasing sounds differently because the pattern is the same, but I've moved the timing over. So first thing is timing. Second thing is pattern. Third thing is placement. Placement is monstrous as far as creativity, right? Placement is everything. So again, in a very basic sense, I'll illustrate this with our 3/1 example. So I've got this 3/1 fill, right? I've got okay, that's timing, start on one, end on one. Pattern is 3/1, ending with 4 singles on 4. But my placement can make this sound like 50 different fills, right? I can play it, right? Right? Or I can play it over the hi-hats. Same exact fill, different placement. Right? I changed it up that time, sorry. But so timing, pattern, placement. So this is the idea. I want to be able to lock in a pattern that I know it so well that I can play that exact same pattern in different placements and different timings where you have no idea. It sounds completely different, but I'm literally playing the exact same pattern. I'm not changing anything in my mind. I'm just saying, okay, I'm going to take this really simple pattern, I'm going to shift it, I'm going to move it, I'm going to do something different with it. So that's what, like, that's basically a structure of a fill. Is I don't want to just think, here is this fill, it goes like this. I want to think of it as a system. All right, here's this fill, but the timing is on 1. Well, what if I move it? What if the timing is on whatever? So let me show you a perfect example of this. One thing I love to do is I love to start fills. I love to do 2 things to these linear fills. One, I like to flip them. What I mean by that is I like to start with my kick first, right? So instead of playing hands first, right, I like to play kick first. Right, but if I'm playing it on the down, it's so straightforward. So what I like to do is I like to offset it by 1/16 note. So what I mean by that is I like to start it on the first 16th note of 4. 1, 2, 3, E, and a 4E right there, 4E. So what that does is that really introduces this like off timing kind of gospel-y feel that people like to hear, they kind of want to figure out. So same pattern, stuff like 3/1, I'm playing 3/1, 2/2, 2/1, 3/2. I'm just mixing and matching those things. I'm flipping them, I'm playing the kick first, and then I'm starting them on the first 16th note of 4, okay? I'll do it slow. So this is the idea. Right, so I start on 4E. Right, so that's where a lot of that gospel feel comes in. All 3/1, 2/2, 3/2, all those simple things. But again, what I'm doing is I'm messing with the timing, I'm messing with the pattern, I'm messing with the placement. I'm taking each one of these elements and I'm trying to find a way to twist it just enough where it becomes unrecognizable to the listener. Right, so it's the same thing as right, that real straightforward, but because I've moved it to a 16th note and I put the kick first, now I've got this loping. Cool, makes sense? So that's kind of where I'm getting that like gospel-y feel, is because I'm shifting those things. So again, timing, pattern, and placement. Now, the one thing you'll find in this entire everything I'm talking about is that everything is some piece of a system that you can, extract and change. Right? You shouldn't look at fills as, and I do it like I post, a gospel chop. Here is a gospel chop. And that's great, and that's why I'm doing this hour lesson, because it's impossible to explain everything in that kind of video. People just want to see, show me the chop. Just here's the chop. This is how it goes. But again, the problem is just teaching you one chop is not really going to help you develop a system, because Guess what? You're going to take that back to your church, and 10 minutes into worship set, people are going to be like, I hear you playing that one fill over and over. Stop it. I'm tired of that fill. But you thought, man, I've got the dopest chop ever. The point is not to learn that one chop. The point is to learn the system where I can take that one pattern or that timing or that placement and use it all over the place. Does that make sense? So, yeah. So, all right. So let me show you. Let's see. We talked about timing, pattern, placement. Talked about 3/2, 2/1. Talked about offset. Okay, yeah. So writing things out. Here's another thing that's really cool. I like to, if I'm ever, has anyone ever felt like you are in a rut? Raise your hands. Like my drumming is in a rut. I feel like when I sit down to the kit, all I do is just play the same things over and over and over and over. Like, no matter what I do, I cannot come up with new stuff. I cannot, develop creative things. I just feel like I'm playing the exact same things over and over. I feel like we have all been there. I've felt that way. Yes, I see the confirmation in the building. Yes, we feel that way. So here is something that I like to do if I'm in a rut. So now that we've talked about linear drumming, I've talked about how to build a linear fill. Maybe do this right now, okay? This is what I like to do. I like to step away from the kit and write something down. And because what I find is that when I actually create a fill on paper, I'm not limited by my habits on the drums, okay? So let's create a linear fill right now in real time that I've never played before. We'll see what we think, okay? I'm gonna write it out. So first of all, I'm gonna make my decision on the timing, okay? Again, we're gonna talk about timing, pattern, placement. So I'm gonna make this, just for the sake of ease in this lesson, I'm gonna make it a 1 measure fill, okay? So it's 1 measure fill. So we're gonna do timing. All right, I'm gonna start with we're going to start with a 3/1, okay? So we're going to say right, left, right, kick. No, 3/2. Right, left, right, kick. Okay, so that gets me to, again, I've got 16 notes to play with. That gets me to 1, E, and 2, okay? So right, left, right, kick, kick. And now I'm going to do, to make it simple, right, left, kick. Right, left, kick, kick, right, left, kick. So 1, E, and 2, E. 1 E and 2 E and okay. 1 E and 2 E and Let's do 3 E and 3 E. Let's do right, left, kick, kick. 3 E and 4 E and 4 E. We'll do 3 E and 4 E and we'll do right, left, kick, 4 E and we'll do left. 1 and then left. So let me count this out. Right, left, right, and then I'll post it. Right, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, right, left, kick, kick, right, left, kick, left. Now, right, left, right, kick, kick, right, left, kick, right, left, kick, kick, right, left, kick, left, and then crash. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and boom. Check this out. Never played this before, would never think about this on the kit, but I started trying to fill up a measure, right? So I just started with patterns. All right, so let's see if I can get this. I'm gonna copy this over to a Word document so I can see this better. Okay, so check that out. Okay, so if this makes sense to you. So what we've got, and what I'm gonna do first, because this is new to me, never played this before, but I am creating right now because I stepped away from the kit, so I'm not thinking in the way I normally think. I'm thinking on paper, which is different. So what I'm going to do, if I want to learn this, I'm going to play it on the snare, kicking snare, because first of all, timing is simple. I know it's 1/1, so I got that out of the way. Second thing is pattern. I've got to learn the pattern. Here's the thing. If I tried to pick a placement right now and I tried to learn the pattern and the placement at the same time, probably not going to happen. I'm going to focus on one aspect at a time. That's why I picked a 1 measure fill, because that's easy. I know 1/1, that's a no-brainer in my mind. So the second thing, pattern. So I'm going to learn this pattern. Here we go. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay, here we go. and so I would play it over and over until I am cool with it, and then I'm gonna speed it up. Ah. Okay, so, all right, so I would take more time than that, right? I would get that pattern on the snare down to where it's just like lightning speed first. I would take that pattern all the way out until I'm super comfortable with it. Now, I'm gonna pick my placements, okay? I'm not on the kit, I'm away from the kit. I'm gonna write this out away from the kit because I want it to be fresh. I don't want it to be bound by my habits when I play. I want it to be cerebral, not just playing, okay? So, what I'm gonna do, a couple of rules if I'm writing something out. One, I'm not gonna try to play a crossover where I can't get somewhere. I'm not gonna go all the way to the floor tom and then my next note be hi-hat, right? So I'm thinking, unless it's open, but if I'm crossing, if I'm left, I'm not gonna play left floor tom, right hi-hat. Does that make sense? I'm gonna try to follow a couple of rules to make sure I don't violate some of the own ways that I play, if that makes sense. So, let's go back. All right, so first, right, left, kick, kick. Right, left, right, kick, kick. So that's 1 E and. Let's see, I'm gonna play tom 1, snare. Tom 1, snare, kick, kick. Okay? And what I like to do is I like to think about putting the snare, I'm gonna do tom 1, snare, tom 1. Because I kind of want the snare to be, put in places that, again, aren't normally what I would hear. So, let's see, I'm writing this out. Tom 1, snare, or tom 1, snare, tom 1, kick, kick. So, all right. All right, so my next notes, let's see. Tom 1, snare, tom 1, kick, kick. Let's do snare, hi-hat, kick for that right, left, right. Then we've got right, left, kick, kick. Let's do tom 2, kick, kick. All right. Tom 2, kick, kick. So right now I've got and I'm gonna do hat, if I can get there. Hat, snare, kick, snare. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is going to come through when I type this out correctly. All right, so that's kind of what I like to do is so that's typing this out. So that looks really weird. What I'll do is when I'm typing it out and I put tom 1, I'll make the 1 like the little, I guess, subscript, like a scientific notation, right? So it's like a little subscript. But all right, so now I've created this fill. Never played it. I would never think about this on the kit, but because I stepped away from the kit and I thought about it on paper, let's see what it sounds like. And you may say like, huh, I've never heard you play that. Well, duh, I've never played it before. Here we go. Super slow. And again, I would take a lot more time this, but just for the sake of the lesson, I'm showing you how this works. Okay, so right? Yeah. So I messed it up a little bit, but I mean, that's cool. That's something I would maybe use. So that's the idea. I just sat down with pen and paper, digitally, but I created something that maybe I wouldn't think about on the kit. Now what I can do is, you know, you may write something down and then come on the kit and be like, wow, that's really impractical. I put a bunch of kicks really close together, that doesn't sound good. And then you can tweak it to make it playable. But does that make sense? So when I step away from the kit, when I'm on the kit, I'm gonna play my habits. When I'm on paper, I'm not thinking that way, because I'm not thinking, okay, okay, cool, I'll play that all the time. I just sat down and I just started picking stuff. And now I've come up with a cool fill because I know the system and I've worked it out. So does that make sense? So I've built this like fill on paper, and then when I go to apply it, then it's cool. All right, so he asked, so how do you know when to play this during a song? Okay. Yes. All right. So that is a great question, because that kind of ties into what I'm going to talk about. So what I can do, the thing that gives me the ability to play this in a song, or to take something and apply it to a song, is the timing. Okay. Pattern and placement doesn't really dictate it as much as timing. So if I know I'm in a song and I know I've got a fill that I'm going to catch starting on 1, ending on 1, then I know it fits, right? Boom, I can copy and paste this into that spot. I can make it work. Or if I know I've got a hit coming up on 4, guess what? I may start the fill on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a doom, right? I know that I've got a hit coming up on 4. That's where counting comes into play. So if right now you are not counting out songs, you're not counting things out in songs, you're not playing things in a song, and you're not like sitting down and actually making yourself think about when things start, when things end, then that's gonna be a problem, because you can't replicate what other people play if you can't count it, right? You're just kind of mimicking the idea or the general sound of it. So people, and I put this in one of my vlogs, and people say stuff like, yeah, man, I really don't know what I'm playing. I'm not really sure what I'm playing there, just whatever. Well, I would challenge you to say, well, that means your comprehension is below your playing level. You're not actually sitting down and breaking down what you're playing. If you can't break it down, then how are you supposed to learn what other people are playing, right? What other people can play? How can you replicate what you hear on the record if you can't count it? I made a list of questions, and that was one of them. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get to more questions. I'm gonna get to questions at the end, bro, because I'm gonna keep moving on with a couple more things tied into this. So, is everyone cool with the kind of writing out a linear fill on paper? Does that make sense how it would apply differently than if you just sat down at the kit and tried to learn something? Do you see that? I mean, you literally just saw me do it. So that's the idea, is I want to take something, I'm going to get off of the kit, I'm going to get on paper, I'm going to write some things down that really help me make sense. Okay, I'm going to move on. All right, I'm going to talk about another thing about fills, okay? One thing I like to use are pickups, okay? So what I mean by pickup is, and this kind of helps maybe answer your question a little bit, Aaron, is that sometimes I can finish fills pretty easily. Like, you can finish things by just playing like digga 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 boom, right? If you may start something really cool, like a really cool idea, and then you get lost, and so you're like, oh, let me find the one, let me figure this out, and you just roll it out, right? You just kind of finish it out. So one cool thing to incorporate are pickups into your playing, and I've talked about this in some of my videos on YouTube. But what I mean by that is I may have some really simple, really cool pattern to begin a fill, and then I'm going to finish it out however I want to, or in a simple way. So for instance, I'm going to show you one right now. A really cool pickup that I use all the time. If you go back and watch my videos, if you haven't noticed this already, you will hear this all over the place in my videos. Here's a pickup. Starts on 1, and the pattern is right, left, right, left, right. 1 E and a 2. So basically, my thought process starts on 2, because that first from 1 to 2, like, I'm on autopilot. So what I play is tom, snare, 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 snare. Now dynamically, I'm going to ramp that up. I'm going to lead up to 2, so I get this. Right? So what I'm going to play is, so let's see here. So all I had to think about was a, right? And that was a 2/2. So I played. So my little pickup, 2/2. So I played the pickup, then a 2/2, a 2/2, and a 2 kicks, yeah. And then a 2/1, hands first. So I played my pickup, 2/2, kick first, 2/2, kick first, and then kick, right, left, crash. Make sense? So what I'm saying is the pickup is like the mindless thing. I know I can just throw that in there, no problem. I can just like spit that out, and then from there I can build a fill. I can think about it later. But in my mind, I want to have a couple of preset patterns that, like, there's my go-to pattern. So if I want to back that up a little bit, let me add, on that pickup, I can play 4E, I want to play 2 kicks on and, 4E and now I've got my pickup. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So now my pickup's a little bit longer. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how my, and Derek, we asked about dynamics. See how my dynamically, those are ghost notes. Or, you know how I did a pickup, I just said I added the kick on 4 and a 1. Sometimes I add snare, like 2 snare notes, and a 1, 4, and a 1. So now I can either do, or I can do, does that make sense? So I've got my pickup, and then I've got a little pickup on the pickup, right? So what I'm saying is, in my mind, I've got this really simple go-to pattern, left, right, right, left, right. Dynamically, I'll ramp it up, and then I'm gonna add just little pieces on it. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm taking these preset patterns that I know, this is very simple, I've got this locked in, and then I'm just kind of building little, like Legos, or I'm just building little things, and so eventually I've got this really cool idea, and people are like, oh man, that sounded so awesome. In my mind, all I did was I had to think about like 1 3/1, and then 1 2/2, and then making sure I caught the 1. Everything else was like stuff that I'm so locked in with, it was really, really easy to do. Okay, let's talk about dynamics, okay, in your fills. So, accenting is monstrous and accent pattern. So, for example, I could play this fill kind of dynamically even. Okay, kind of boring, but I can play the same thing. And all of a sudden, it's got a lot of life. Versus, right? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to come up with like an accent pattern. So here's another way. Let's kind of move away from necessarily linear fills. I'm going to talk about another way to build fills. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with a 16th note accent pattern. All right, here we go. We're going to do it with a really simple one. So let's do. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract just those accents over my kick quarter note pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now one thing to note, I'm always gonna play this like stickingly correct. I'm not gonna play like, right? Because I want to always think about it in the context of 16th notes. So even if I took away the rest of those 16th notes, I want to act like they're still there. Does that make sense? So I'm not going to change my sticking like I am, but I may do that, you know, you could do that, but in my mind, I want to keep all those 16 notes because I want to make sure I'm hearing them in their proper placement. So by keeping the sticking, even when the other notes aren't there, it helps me kind of keep things straight. So, all right, so I've got the accent pattern. I've extracted it from the measure. Okay, I'm gonna put it back in the measure, but I'm gonna move it around the kit. I'm gonna try to move this accent. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so now I kind of mess with it, but the idea is I've taken this accent pattern and now I'm moving around the kit. Okay, makes sense? All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those accents and I'm gonna break them up over the kick and the snare, all right? So again, back to the beginning, what I did is I just created an accent pattern. I just picked one out of 16th notes. I extracted them. Okay, and then now I moved them back. I put them back in, but I moved around the kit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and I'm going to play them between the kick and snare. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to play around with it until I find one that I like. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where I kind of get some like break, choppy kind of fills, right? So. All right, so sorry guys, the quality's getting really bad. Is the audio still workable though? I know video's getting kind of blurry, but how's the audio? Is audio still good enough where you're not getting like totally pixelated? Audio is not really a word, but you know what I mean. Is it okay? Okay, sorry about that. I said this at the beginning, but next time, if you guys bear with me, I'm working on tapping into actually our multi-camera live stream setup, but it's not free, right? So I've got to invest a little more into it. So that's the goal, is next time I'm going to be on microphones, actually my kit setup and all that kind of stuff. But hopefully this is workable. I think it is. I think it's not terrible. So audio, video, I tested earlier, sound okay. But anyway, okay. What you can see, and I know I'm fast forwarding this. I know I'm fast tracking this process. But what I'm trying to show you is that when I'm trying to create new fills, I've got to come at it from a different approach than just sitting down and being like, all right, today I'm going to come up with something hot, right? Because it's not going to work, right? I'm just going to come up with the exact same thing. So what I like to do is I like to come at it from a different angle. So by using things like, you know, using an accent pattern, it's going to be a way that I can, you know, develop a fill, develop an idea in a different way. So does that make sense? The process that I came to with the accent pattern. So I started with a 16th note accent pattern. So if you want to do this, sit down and just come up with a 1 measure 16th note accent pattern. It could be like, whatever, and then extract it from the measure. What I mean is bring out all the other notes except for those notes. Which, whatever it was, I changed it, but. Move it around the kit. Break it up over the kick and snare. Make it a fill. Cool. So the idea with that is I've come at it from a position of making things like starting with an accent pattern and making things that sound a lot more intricate, a lot more difficult. But really all I'm doing is I'm using accents. Accents are the only thing that makes that cool is accents. It's singles. It's all singles, right? At the beginning, all I'm playing is just straight singles. An accent. Okay. All right. How many of you are familiar with flams? You would say that you use flams, flam taps, flam cues in your playing. You probably use flams without realizing it whenever you play like a tom pattern, but anybody say, yeah, I really intentionally use flams a lot in my playing? Anybody? We got flammers out there. Sounds almost like a curse word a little bit. Flams. Flams are a great way to spice up your playing. Yeah, see some thumbs up. Some things going in there. Incorporate doubles or paradiddles on chops. Yeah, I'll talk about that a little more here in a minute. But okay, flams. All right, so flam, very simply, and this is an oversimplification, but just for the sake of time, flams basically I'm playing one note really low, one note really high, and it's the space of one note, but you get two distinct hits, but it's not spaced out enough where you hear like two separate notes. So this is a flam. This is not a flam. And it is, but it's too loose, right? So flam. So it'd be like left, right. Okay, so on the toms you may play it like. Okay, so one way, so say if I want to play the 3/1, all right, so this is really simple. If I played a really easy 3/1 over just my toms, 1 E and 2 E and, all right, so here we go. That's boring, right? It doesn't sound good. Okay, what if I made that a flam? If I made that a flam broken up over two things, it would be, right? Now watch. So what it does is to me it makes a way that we can really incorporate a way more complex sound into really simple patterns. So again, 3/1. All I'm gonna do is 3/1. So like, it may sound boring. What I'm doing is I'm playing a flam on a different surface. So instead of just playing, I'm playing this, but I'm playing a flam. Make sense? So left. So I got left, right, basically playing left, right, left, right. So, flams, huge. So, yeah, so flams again are a way, and another thing with this, everything that I'm talking about are things that I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm trying to find really simple ways in my mind that I can add and infuse these concepts into, you know, my playing. So, I've covered a lot of ground. I know I've covered a lot of ground. Some things may have sounded really simple, some things may have been really difficult, whatever. But the idea is that you can come back to this and watch it again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to go back through this and put like timestamps right into this. So say if you wanna go back to linear stuff, I'm gonna click and make in the description a little timestamp where you can click on the linear part, talk about flams, all that stuff. So I want this to not just be a one-time lesson, but say if you wanna come back to this and listen again, I've tried to move quickly and not stay something too long. That way you've got a lot of stuff in this 1 hour jam pack. So again, let me just kind of recap a couple little things. And because this is really about the mindset of playing. It's not just learning this one fill. I'm really trying to show you what my approach is to fills and how I try to approach learning stuff. I never want to look at just one fill in isolation. I try to look at it in the system. How can I break this apart and play this in different aspects, in different ways that can be applicable to my setting. So again, linear drumming, huge, great tool. You know, please take that, work with it, run with it. 3/1, I thought I heard something. Somebody's up in here, it's gonna scare me to death. 3/1, 2/2, 3/2, right? It's all numbers, mixing and matching, just making sure you land where you want to land. Becoming fluid in each one of those subdivisions. 3/1, 2/2, flipping them, all that stuff. It's very simple, but it's very you know, real ways to increase your playing ability. All right, taking things off the kit. Start from paper. Build things on paper and then bring them back to the kit. You'll find that you think completely differently on paper than you do on the drum set. It can be a great rut breaker to do that in your playing. Also, pickups. Come up with some really simple, tiny patterns that you can throw in to begin a fill, and you can make a really simple fill like I did with that left, right, right, left, right. And then you can play boom. Just roll around the toms really simply, but because you got this great tasty pickup, all of a sudden it's like this fill sounds a lot more complicated than it really is, but you just played your go-to thing. And then I can play that same pickup and I can move it around the kit, right? You know, I can play like, instead of just playing, I can play it over here. Right? Because it's just left, right, right, left, right, or kick, kick, left, right, left, right. So I can move that around. So all this, the premise of this is timing, pattern, placement. Figure out your timing, figure out your pattern, figure out your placement. Keep the timing, keep the pattern, change the placement, boom, different fill. Keep the timing, you know, change the pattern, which changes the placement, boom, totally different fill. Keep the pattern and the placement, change the timing, boom, totally different fill, right? That's the idea. All of this stuff should be more like a tree with branches. I'm trying to build different things out of this one central trunk of an idea. I'm killing it with the metaphors today. I'm just telling myself that right now. But so I want to build, instead of just having one fill, one fill, one fill, I want to have a system that I can easily change and manipulate to do a bunch of different stuff. So, man, I hope that this has been beneficial to you guys. I really hope it has. If I'm being transparent, I was super hesitant to charge anything because I don't want my YouTube page to become a place to ask people for money. But I felt like by charging something, I said this in a video, it would like weed out people that don't really care, right? So it would actually give me the opportunity to have interaction with people that really like want to learn, that really want to invest in their playing. So that's really the only reason why I did. I mean, yeah, it makes money for me, and that's great. But I wanted to do it so that it would give you something of value where I can interact with you. So we have some time left. I know you may need to bounce, but let me get some questions. So Robert, you asked about paradiddles and doubles, okay? I want to be honest, I don't like super use paradiddles a ton. I do some, but they're not really, they don't make their way into my playing a whole lot. But it's the same idea, okay? So say in the linear idea, if I want to take doubles, I use doubles a lot. I use right-handed doubles a lot more than just straight doubles. Because I just like the way it places stuff. So a lot of times I play like right, right, left. Right, so it's the same idea, and if I want to think about it in a linear thing, I've got a one measure to get through. Where is this double going to fit where I can play it? So I might play like, instead of my 3/1, I might play, right? You know, right, so if I play that, you know, 1 E, 1 E, and 1 E, and right, so that's how I use it sometimes. So I use lots of doubles, but again, I use them like pickups. I use them built around stuff, but I mean, I don't use tons of paradiddles, to be honest, in a lot of things. I mean, I do some, but not really systematically, more kind of one-off. So, okay. All right, we got some time on it. We'll just keep going for a little while, and we have officially 5 minutes left, but I want to get some questions. So, let's talk about questions. Drumsticks. I'm using some sticks that were given to me, actually, today, just because I had them, but right now I play Vader 5Bs, but I also like Vic Firth, I think it's X55A, I think, is what I like, but Vic Firth, to me, they always break, man. I just go through them so quick, where Vader's last a lot longer. So, how do you know how to set up your cymbals for gospel or contemporary? Okay. So, cymbals, there's this range, right? So, there's a range of wash and definition, right? Wash and definition, bright, dark, you know, those kind of things. So I like dark. I like dark cymbals. I like big cymbals. I like wash, but also need definition for gospel. So basically, you know, smaller, brighter is going to be more cutting, more suited for gospel, like the 17 inches killer for gospel. Bigger, washier, darker, better for contemporary stuff. The hats that I'm using are actually 2 crashes put together. There's Samson. I've got Samson medium thin earth crash over a Samson medium, I think it's Eclipse. So just love it, man. So dark. Samson cymbals are sick, incredible. They just got a new representative in the U.S. that is smashing it. If you want to check them out, Samson Cymbals USA, the Facebook, and the guy's name is Tim Walls. Is the guy doing it. So what I'm playing is 16-inch hats. I got a 17-inch crash, 20-inch crash, 21-inch ride, and then an 18/20 stack right now, and this is a 9-inch splash. But Samson cymbals, man, I just cannot get away from. They are incredible, incredible cymbals. So check them out. Tuning, man, I'm probably gonna have to do a whole lesson on tuning because it's impossible to answer quickly. So I may do another lesson on tuning. How do you get your mindset together, especially during a thing like bot? I mean, practice. You know, it's kind of weird to think about, but I mean, it's not really a complicated answer, but you know, takes a long time, just tons of practice. What do we need to practice every day to get better at this? So, as far as linear fills, start by practicing each subdivision, right? So 3/1, 2/2, get comfortable with each one. Otherwise, you won't be able to mix them, right? So again, what I would say is play one measure of groove, boom, got, one measure of your subdivision, boom, got, one da 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 boom, right? 2/2, right? So that way you can be comfortable with each one of them. Then mixing and matching is just a decision. It's not like, oh, I don't know 3/1 very well. I only know 2/2, so if I try to put in 3/1, it's going to mess me up, right? You want to be able to be fluid in each subdivision. That way you can use them. See, did I miss any questions? Looking for cymbals in a cage with less ring in the cage because they just vibrate the cage. Okay. Yeah, so if you want a lower volume cymbal, thinner and darker, okay? I would honestly really recommend Samson. They have a line that's actually almost like a lower volume type cymbal. It's called the Spark. I've got a couple of their crashes. They're lower volume, but like also or anything that's basically not lathed, okay? So lathing, right? This brilliant finish. This is lathing. Okay, so this is lathe, highly lathe. So this is going to be bright and cutting, and it's thicker, so it's going to have more sustain. It's going to ring longer. It's going to be louder. Whereas a cymbal like this one, this hi-hat, it's actually a crash. This one doesn't have lathing on it. It's going to be darker. It's going to be washier. It's not going to sit in the mix as high. It's going to be a little bit thinner. So every company's making these. Meinl makes great cymbals, but I would really check out Samson and email the guy Tim and tell him what you're looking for, because he will get you great prices. Tell him that I sent you, and it'd be great. Does this work for 16-note triplets? Yeah, absolutely. Talking about as far as like linear patterns, yeah. So linear patterns, 16-note triplets, you know, I would use yeah, same idea, using these same type patterns. So I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have time to really like dive into a whole thing, but yeah. So try to apply it. I may be able to link up with you later on that. But yeah, I mean, it's the same idea with 16-note triplets. So okay, let's see. I think I missed some questions. What tech do you use? Oh, tuning, yeah. Do you ever shed with heavier sticks than you use for service? You know, I don't. Man, I pretty much play the same, because I just feel like when I go back to the other sticks, they feel alien to me. Like I want to be comfortable with the sticks I'm in. So yeah, I've heard that like developing hand strength and all kinds of stuff, and yeah, I mean that's cool, I guess. But for me, I just don't like doing that, because I don't want my actual sticks to feel different. I want to be comfortable with what I'm playing and lock in with that. So okay, let me say this again. Well, I got you guys. I said this at the beginning. Let me give you my vision for this type of thing. My goal is to get to where I'm doing maybe one lesson a month and get 100 people. So if you do the math, like you're like, oh my gosh, that's $1,000. This dude is making $1,000. That's a lot of money. Yeah, it is a lot of money, but this is what I want to do. I want to, every lesson, give away something like substantial, like a $400 cymbal, which actually isn't that $400 cymbal. That's stupid. A crash. I want to give away a snare. I want to give away a pair of hi-hats. Like, I just think it'd be so dope to do a lesson at the end, be like, all right, I'm gonna pick one of you jokers and I'm gonna ship you this crash tomorrow, right? So the idea is, but if I can do it, get the finances where I can do that, where it's just like, hey man, who wants a crash? All you got to do is say you pay $10. And in my opinion, and let me not be pretentious. I'm not trying to say I'm all that, but in my opinion, $10 for an hour lesson, like, that's really good. Like, where are you going to get that? It's not going to happen. So that's what I thought. Like, I wanted to do something that would be of value to you guys. So I felt like, man, $10 is not a crazy price point. You know, $10 is something that you can afford. It's not that big of a deal. It's an hour long. It's a lot of value. So I guess my first question is, do you feel like, and if you guys can help me, do you feel like you got the value from this? Like, do you feel like, yeah, man, and I'm not looking for compliments. I really want to know, how can I make this better? Do you feel like, man, it was worth $10. Thank you. This is worth $10. Or like, no, yeah, I really don't feel like I wouldn't spend this money again. This is not worth it. Like, do you feel like this $10 is like good? Is that a good price point? Is this, man, this makes sense? I would totally do this again. I would recommend this. You know, I'm not fishing for compliments. I just want to see, is this feasible? Is this sustainable? Cool. So I mean, you guys feel the same way. I feel like, yeah, this $10 is not that big of a deal. Yeah. So you can come back and watch it. So the incentive, right? So my goal is the incentive to get more people, right, to hit that $100 person cap, or I mean not cap, but that goal is that if I get 100 people, I'm giving something away, something like cymbals. Not just like, I'm gonna give you a pair of sticks. I'm gonna like send you a cymbal. I'm gonna pick a snare and send something I'm playing. They say, I like that. I'm gonna say, cool, it's yours. I'm gonna give it to you. That's my goal. I just think that'd be so cool. So I'm probably gonna pump that out over the next video when we do this again, probably next month or in a couple weeks. So I guess the incentive for you guys, come back, but my challenge is that for you to get someone else, like, promo this to someone else, like, hey man, this was worth it. If we can get 100 people to hop on, Daniel's going to start giving his kit away. Like literally, he's going to give symbols away. He's going to give, which I may not give these away because I've used them like they're used. So I may get some more stuff from Samson, have him send me some stuff, and just give it out. Like I would love to give away a 20-inch crash every month, or a 17-inch crash, or a pair of hi-hats. Like, yeah, give away these hats. That may be a good thing. I'm gonna have another set of these hats ordered or something and sent away. So I just want to put that out there for you guys. This is the first lesson. This is the first time doing this. So be on the lookout. We're gonna do this again. A pair of my J's. Okay. A pair of J's. I mean, that's within the realm of possibility, but I guess, you know, the size, it may not fit. But that's my plan. I want to shoot for 100 people on the lesson, and I want to give symbols away. Like, I just think that would be so cool. I would love to do that. It'd be worth my time, right? I'm making it worth my while, but also enough money where I can do stuff like that, where I can give stuff away. I'm not necessarily trying to get rich off you guys in the sense that like I'm trying to charge a lot. I'm trying to charge a tiny bit of amount for a lot of value. Anyways, you get the point. I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but that's what that's my hope. Like, I just want to find ways that, yeah, it's of benefit to me, it's worth my while, but I would love to do stuff that people aren't doing. Like, who's just always giving away symbols. I would love to give away symbols every month, every week. It'd be sick if I did this every week, every Saturday or something, and gave a symbol away every Saturday. I would love to do that. But again, I gotta build the following. I gotta build people of interest in it. So if you're here, first lesson, kudos. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna sign off here in a minute, but be on the lookout for the next lesson. Help me get to that 100 person mark, and I'll give away some stuff. I'll give away some symbols. So cool. All right, guys. Man, I appreciate you guys doing this with me. I appreciate you guys, investing in this, investing in yourself. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this is something that you've appreciated and you feel like has added value, and people said that you guys have done that. So we'll be back again in a couple weeks or in a month, and we're going to tackle something else. I really had a lot more material to go through, but I just ran out of time. So we're going to do like Phil's part 2, dive into this stuff. So again, thank you guys so much for joining, and we're going to see you guys in the next one. Be on the lookout.